Let's go. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Tidecast podcast. And I'm your host. Y'all know who it is. Christian Ballard Sports Media. Episode 9. I just got done doing a live stream. Shout out to all the Bama fans. Shout out to everybody. I love all you guys out there. Chess Hall, Jeff Webster, who I was talking with, BBD. I got a lot of people I just want to say that I love them, man. I love all you guys, all the support for the channel and my career and everything. I started college this week over at Wallace State here in Alabama, and so far so good. Still trying to figure some stuff out, but I know if I just crack down and put my mind to it, you can achieve it, man. But welcome in, everybody. Episode 9, Tidecast Podcast. And a topic that kind of crossed my mind, I wanted to get one of these out. I want to keep doing stuff like this. I want to keep doing, and of course this is an off-season thing anyway, but, just getting closer to the season and just all the time that it takes to put them together. I do want to continue like my flashback videos or whatever, so, but Tidecast Podcast. If you're new and you're finding this is episode 9. You can go back on my channel. You listen back to some of the other episodes that I've done. I'm going to try to be more consistent doing these throughout the season, recapping the games, staying on it. I mean, I started out with, I think last year I started by talking about the conference only stuff, defensive improvements in 2020, blah blah blah, and so on. And I just didn't really do much of these in the season last year. I talked about the title game. I talked about us winning the championship. I looked at the Iron Bowl. I did it on special occasion, but I like to get back to doing them a little bit more. But today, really, I just want to talk, and I mentioned I'm going to be messing with you Miami fans out there if you're watching and listening. I'm going to be messing with you guys. But I got love and respect. No hatred. But I'm going to get you guys hyped up. I'm going to get you riled up. We're going to get you ready for the game. Can Miami win against the Crimson Tide week 1? Absolutely. Any given Saturday in sports, not even just football, any given day in sports, an upset can brew. Miracle plays, blowouts, upsets, the unthinkable. It can happen. But what needs to happen? Okay, Miami can beat Alabama. But how does it happen? And I'm not ready to give out score predictions yet. Wait till the week of the game. That weekend, we have Georgia and Clemson, of course, in Charlotte, for the, the Duke's Mayonnaise Classic. And, of course, the annual Chick-fil-A kickoff game. It's always SEC and ACC, Bama and Miami and Atlanta this year. That week, I will put out, for each of those games, a preview and prediction video, giving my score predictions on those games, my final thoughts, my final answer. Who do I think will win those games? How will it turn out? How can these teams win? Right? And I'll kind of dive into that today. Forget about how Alabama beats Miami. We know that. We know what they got to do. Bryce Young has got to have a great day. They got to go out there and show offense like they've shown it in recent years, where they got elite receivers and weapons. They got to have defense, which I think more so Alabama is defensive led this year. I really think that our games will be won and our season will be indicated based on how we perform defensively. For Alabama, I think that, what Pete Golding wants to do in year 3, being under Coach Saban, who is a defensive-minded head coach, by the way, this whole Alabama with Tua and changing from, being defensive university type, not that I'm calling them DBU, but I mean, let's be honest, all the championships Alabama has won, they have had defense, right? And what happened when Tua came in? Well, offense. And why did that happen? Because look, because I think it goes back to even to Sean Watson. And I mean, you just saw these quarterbacks coming up. Go back to Lamar Jackson before he was drafted by the Ravens. Was a Heisman winner. I think it was, what was it, 2016? We started seeing more and more like these running backs that were winning the Heisman and quarterbacks winning it. Think about the past few years. Okay, we talk about the Heisman Trophy. It is the pinnacle of awards outside of national championship, of course. But if you're Mr. Heisman, you're joining an elite club of legends in college football. Who's won it recently? Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. I mean, what do those guys have in common that I just named? Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, of course, in 2019 with LSU. What do those guys have in common? Correct. You are correct. They're all quarterbacks. Their offense. We've had our fair share in history of seeing defensive guys win the Heisman. This era of college football has changed, though. I mean, it's changed. So, is that what am I trying to get at? I'll go ahead and say that. I think Bama is more on the defensive side of the ball. And I say that because last year, Alabama had probably their best offense that they've had in a while. They documented this. I mean, it was incredible. Devontae Smith. Dude, how does Jalen Waddle go down? How do you sit there and say, I think Alabama's done after they lost Jalen Waddle? They just lost the fastest guy in the nation. He's the best receiver. He's this. They don't have him now. They don't have special teams. Devontae Smith's like, I'm right here, fool. I'm right here. You forget about me? And he showed up. And it was just, it was incredible. It was offensive led. We are in an offensive era. Think about it. Look, the past few number one picks in the draft. Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, talks about Tua and Trevor Lawrence this past year with the Jaguars. It's been quarterbacks. And then what else do you see? You see running backs go off the board. Najee Harris and ETN this year. Saquon Barkley from Penn State a couple years ago, number 2 overall to the Giants. Or the Jet. No, I'm sorry. It is the Giants. I apologize. New York teams. But I mean, you see all these offensive weapons. We saw a historic class the past 2 years. This year with Waddle and Devontae Smith of Alabama. And last year, Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. We saw those elite wide receivers go. And what's been the key to Alabama's success in winning games in the past couple years with Tua, with Mac Jones? What happened? I mean, is it defense? No. It's been scoring 40 points a game. Bama wasn't doing that five years ago. They were scoring, I mean, kind of in the 40s, but I mean, they could score 31 points, only give up 7, and they're still the best team in college football. We've changed eras now. It's offensive era. But that doesn't mean that all the great teams are going to have offense. Or at the very least, that's going to be what makes the team. I think Bama is more defensive-led. I do. The main topic in this episode too is, okay, how does Miami beat Alabama? We know how Alabama's going to beat Miami. They're going to go out there and they're going to do what they got to do. De'Aaron King, speaking of offense, I still think we're in an offensive era. Let's get to Miami's side. De'Aaron King, talented recruit, recruited by Houston. A lot of hype around that name a bit. He transfers out. I don't even remember what happened. I don't know if he was benched or if he just wanted a better school or an opportunity. So he just went to Miami. Now he transfers in. But he's talented. Strong arm, very mobile, great in the pocket. Looked great last year. Charleston Rambo just transferred in. Talented, great sized, hands, speed, athletic receiver out of Oklahoma. That's a good pickup for Miami. Miami has some players you need to keep an eye on. How do they stop Alabama? You have to get off to a fast start if you're De'Aaron King and you're Miami in that offense. You just have to. If you're Miami, you have to shut down what Pete Golding has. You have to shut down what Alabama has defensively. You just do. Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator for Miami, has to have a great plan going in. He is an offensive guru, too. He was the offensive coordinator at SMU, UConn, and Auburn. Some pretty good schools right there, even being in the SEC at Auburn. He played quarterback at Arkansas. So he knows about quarterbacks and developing. He's worked with some great players. He, anyway, the point I'm getting at is, Rhett Lashley has some tools to work with for Miami, especially, again, bringing in Charleston Rambo from Oklahoma. Miami is set up to have a good season. I would not be surprised if they lose to Bama, run the table 11-1. The only two teams I see on the schedule of them losing prior to maybe if they make it to the ACC title in Charlotte, and you got Clemson there, but like regular season talk, I only see no more than 2 losses. No more. And who do they have? Well, they got a top 10 team right now in North Carolina. And then they got Alabama. That's it. Miami is set up for great success. But their first test comes against, you guessed it, the Alabama Crimson Tide. How do they win that game? Forget about how Bama wins it. We know. They just got to go out there, do what they got to do, have the great defense, and Bryce Young's got to look special. Well, De'Aaron King's got to look special too. Charleston Rambo. You guys have to go out there and put Bama's defense to rest. You have to hope that they don't show up. That you can throw Pete Golding off guard and give him offensive formations or whatever and plays that he looks at and is like, what the hell do I do with this? I mean, seriously, you go out there, you just gotta play good offense. Expose Bama's defense. Ole Miss showed you how you do it. You gotta put points on the board. Alabama went 13-0 last season. Listen, I think we should have lost to Ole Miss based on the performance. Honestly, I mean, it was bad. Now, credit to Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral, Snoop Connor, and other players on the... I mean, I'm going to give them some credit because I do like Lane Kiffin. I think he's going to have great success with Ole Miss and the Rebels. And I think that he is building an offensive juggernaut. I think you'll see it this year, too. Shout out to my friend Chess Hall, who thinks that Ole Miss is going to beat Bama this year. And I don't blame him for saying that. if they're getting better, and, especially on offense, did they score more than 48 points against a team that they put 48 on one team last year, and they're getting better? Do you expect them to do that too? Well, you also got to look at this. Is Bama's defense going to get better? I think so. I think so. Um. So, look, Bama will be more defensive led. I talked about that in the last episode. Looking at all the players coming back, DJ Dale, Justin Boygby. We got new guys coming in. You got Jordan Battle coming back, leading the secondary. Keep your eye. Oh my gosh. Can the season get here sooner? Because let's be honest, I don't care who you are. You don't have to be a Bama fan. This guy is highly recruited, and he's going to be great no matter where he goes. I guarantee it. JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry. Oh, I cannot wait. Oh, this guy is hard hitting. He's fast, great size, great hands. He's everything you wanted a defensive back. Keep your eye on that guy. Keep your eye on him. He's going to be great. So, getting back to this game, how does Miami beat Alabama week 1? D'Eriq King has got to be on point. He's got to have great O-line protection. I think they got some good guys up front. I do think so. You got Charleston Rambo on the roster from Oklahoma. He was good at Oklahoma too. He was good. Just I mean, really. And now he comes over, and D'Eriq King's going to be throwing him the ball. Cameron Harris was a good running back for him last year. Jalen Knighton, I've heard some about him. They bring quite a bit back. You have Mark Pope, a receiver to look out for, from what I hear. Will Mallory is a junior tight end from Jacksonville, Florida. To name a couple names that I've heard of, and I've watched a little bit of Miami practice videos here or there. They look great. Now they lose some key guys on defense, like Gregory Rosso. He was an edge rusher. They lost another guy. I can't remember who it was. They lost 2 key guys up front on the defensive line that are now pros. But look, Miami's got some players. They do. D'Eriq King threw for over 2,000 yards last year. If we expect him to get better, maybe he has a 3,000-yard season or something. Or at least, maybe 2,800 yards. I don't know. If you expect it, I mean, even, bring in Rambo. Last year, Cameron Harris led in rushing yards for Miami, 643. Of course, D'Eriq King led in passing yards. To be exact, too, it was 2,686 total passing yards for D'Eriq King. Mike Harley, 1 short of an 800 receiving yard. He was at 799 in receiving yards last year. Led Miami in receiving. He's a key guy to watch out for. Mark Pope is a key receiver. 33 receptions for 403 yards. Brevin Jordan, the tight end, I believe he's gone pro now. I think, let me double check. Yeah, I guess the Texans picked him up in the 5th round. So Brevin Jordan's gone. So they'll have some young guys step up. Will Mallory will step up at tight end. I think he's the next guy up. D. Wiggins, Mark Pope, to name a couple of receivers. They have a good kicker, which actually, no, I think this guy, let me double check. He's actually with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First year kicker, Jose Borregales. I don't know how you say it, but he was perfect all last year for Miami as a kicker. Now they got this Camden Price. He made one extra point last year. No field goal attempts for him. So they got an inexperienced kicker. Whatever. Anyway, Miami's got players. Point I'm trying to get at. You know, Bubba Bolden comes back. Top secondary player, I would say. He had 50 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles last year. That's good. Most defensive players that are really good, honestly, even the good ones, it's hard to get forced fumbles like that. You get assists or recover or whatever. 4 forced fumbles for a Miami player, that's pretty good. He had an interception. That's not bad. Look, point is, Miami has the players to beat Alabama. How do they do it? You got to hope that Bama just has a bad day, especially Bryce Young, who's talented. He's from one of the best schools in California, modern day. He comes in, you don't think he's going to light it up? He is. I'm telling you, he might get off to a slow start this year, sure. Right out the gate, though, we have a challenge. In Miami, how do you beat Bama? You have to hope D'Eriq King is on his A-plus performance list. He has to have a great game. Charleston Rambo has to step up, right? I mentioned guys like Will Mallory or whatever. You got to hope these guys have a great, just great day catching the ball. Mike Harley, Mark Pope. I mentioned these guys in receiving. Give the ball to your running back. Let them run up the middle. Have a good O-line. I think they could. Cameron Harris last year had 10 touchdowns for Miami. He's still on the team. He comes back. He'll be a senior. 5'10", 210 pounds from Opelika, Florida. Anyway, I don't have much to say in this one other than Miami can win this game. They can. They have to hope that Bama has... I think the number one thing is you just hope that D'Eriq King can get off to a fast start, throw off the defense, and just keep putting up points. I think this will be one of those games that's like one of the... first to maybe 30 points, 31 points wins the game. I really think that. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a little bit more defense than we think, and maybe you sit there and you say, maybe the first to score 23, 24 points, and a little bit past that, maybe they win it, and it's like a 28, 24. I don't know. But ultimately, Miami can win the game. They have what it takes, I think. But Bama is this juggernaut that's just been rolling down the track for the past decade and a half or whatever. And Nick Saban, we know about Nick Saban. He recruits. Defensive guru, has a plan. And in the toughest of moments, he finds way. Tua, a couple years ago, that LSU game, we need to remember, it was 33-13 at halftime. You're down 20 at half, and you only lose by 5, and your quarterback's on one leg practically. Tua was not 100%. Bama's been in situations where it looked like they were not going to win. Of course, you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, why didn't they come back on Clemson in that 44? I don't know. Don't ask me that question. I don't know. What the hell? I don't know. Anyway, D'Eriq King has to have the best game of his life. He's got to put the big boy pants on, step on that field, and light up Alabama's defense. And I think he could do it. I really do. Charleston Rambo is a fast, speedy receiver, great hands. I mentioned guys like Will Mallory or whatever. I mean, they got weapons. Miami's got some players. They do. It's not that they don't have the players to beat out. They have it. But Alabama might just have a little bit more. We'll wait and see. I'm not going to make this one too long or anything. I won't keep y'all here all day, but I'll say this. Miami, please give us a game. Don't make this like a 45-10 blowout. I want this to be a good game. I want this to be like what it's pretty much being hyped up to be. A lot of people are really on board with Miami this year. People aren't looking at this like they are the Georgia Clemson game. But this might be the second best game on the schedule for week 1. Truly. It's not going to depend on Alabama. We know what they're going to put on the field. The question is, what is Miami going to do? Can they compete with Alabama? We'll see. I'm going to end it here. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Y'all keep your head up. Miami, come give us a challenge. Week 1 in Atlanta, September 4th, 3:30 kickoff. Love you guys. Keep your head up. Jesus loves you. God bless. And as always, roll Tide roll. Ballard Sports Media is checking out. This has been the Tidecast podcast. I love y'all.